I've never seen anything like it personally. It's kind of a little bit like the internet, but it's just, as I said, faster paced and actually larger in scope, which sounds crazy, but it is, because it accrues value itself to these protocol layers. So there's this massive value accretion that comes. So if I compare where we are now, call it $1 trillion of asset valuation in digital assets, well, almost all the traditional asset markets are 200 to 300 trillion. We're going to get there in probably 10 to 15 years. I mean, this will be the fastest accumulation of value the world has ever seen. Fastest and largest. Bigger than oil, bigger than the internet. It's a very, very different thing. The point being is, as soon as the macro clears up, everybody from you guys, I mean, we've already seen Meta moving further along faster than launching stuff. Everybody's going to launch, and everybody's going to be putting capital. And don't forget, like you guys and everybody else, everybody's investing in VC in this space already. So everyone's doing a first look. What's happening? Where is it going? How do we get involved? So the VC money of $60 billion that went in the last 18 months, because of the speed of the cycle in crypto, we're going to see a whole lot of products and new changes and new innovations coming in the next 6 to 12 months. Every investor in the world is going to invest in the sector. Right now, it's probably something like 0.5% or 0.25% or something of people's investments, and it's going to get much larger. So how do you capture that? That's why I started an asset management company that invests in digital asset hedge funds. Okay, so that's part of the trend. Much like, again, you guys at corporate level through the VC arm will be investing in VC companies, so you're capturing the trend. The other thing is, the big light bulb moment for me was realizing that tokenization is going to unlock intangibles on global balance sheets. So what do I mean by that? Intangibles are things like brand and community. I think as McKinsey put intangibles at about $60 trillion on global balance sheets. The point being that tokenizing brand and tokenizing community is going to put this on the balance sheets. So every firm is incentivized to do it, which is why you guys are looking at it. It actually becomes a way of tokenizing community or network effects. So if you think of it in these terms, is Disney is a $250 billion company. They're probably the most culturally relevant brand on earth. My guess is they touch more people. I think everybody's got a Disney story, whatever age group you are, you know Disney. Disney has a part of your life, whether it's, in whatever function. What is that worth if you were to tokenize the various sub-franchises like Marvel or even Mickey Mouse or whatever it is? What is that all worth? Disney's a brand. Could Disney have its own currency, essentially? Could you have a social token and NFTs? All of that combined is probably $1 trillion or $2 trillion. That's not even on their balance sheet. It's not even valued that way yet. So I'm really excited about the tokenization of culture. Culture is the thing that we are all involved in at scale. We all live our life. It defines us as human beings. What are the big cultural identities? Music. I'm a big music fan. Music is a cultural identity that we have. Secondly, fashion is a cultural identifier, something people are passionate about. Thirdly, sports. It's so tribal, so cultural. And finally, probably movie, TV, book franchises, that kind of stuff. Science Magic Studios, the business I've set up, co-founded, the job is to help giant corporations with giant communities tokenize this culture, because that is a huge unlock. We're all used to things like buttons and reward systems. We've seen Reddit do a great job with this already, and they've already integrated a token. The big unlock is making it easy for people. I think one of the single biggest points of entry is tickets. Tickets for anything, particularly events, at scale. If you held a metaverse festival of music and got some of the biggest bands in the world there, like Coachella, but on the internet, 100 million people into NFTs immediately, just because as long as you've got a wallet integration, you can just drop it to them. And there are now wallets that you don't even know. You don't need to know what chain it's on or anything. It's like, here's your thing. So that's how Starbucks have been doing it. And that's how several brands have been doing it. That's how Ticketmaster have been doing it. Ticketmaster genius said, well, every time you get a Ticketmaster ticket, much like your Apple wallet or whatever, you can put your ticket in your Ticketmaster wallet, right? So for easy access. They made their Ticketmaster wallet Web3. So then every time you go to an event, they drop you NFTs. So now you've got NFTs, you've not done anything, you don't know anything about blockchain, and you don't need to. These are just digital assets that move around. So, you guys have the greatest property on earth to do this, which is YouTube. It is without question perfectly aligned for the creator economy and Web3. And it can be a reward system incentivizing people to do it. And that's much what Meta are trying to do. But you have a more powerful engine there. It's really quite extraordinary. And you can break it down to a subcomponent like Reddit did, which is to go to, okay, we'll only do music or only do sport, or we'll start small because it's doable. So that's what we're trying to do at Science Magic Studios, is tell people you don't need to start with the smallest community first and whatever. You can do big things quite quickly without making it scary. You can just use it as a way of creating community at scale rapidly. And then you figure it out as you go. It's an organic process. There is no answer. There's no rule book. And that's kind of exciting because you can fail a lot, but fail small, figure out where you're going. And if you build it in public, people will trust you. If you come with a big ta-da moment, nobody trusts you. And so, I think Meta's doing a decent job of that by trying to build in public as much as they can, but it's still, there's a lot of mistrust about, what intentions are. But that's my thing, is use digital certificates or digital ID. The other big unlock for you guys is if Alphabet create a digital ID, then that's several billion people. Because if that was trusted, let's say it's a zero knowledge proof, so it doesn't even reveal anything about me personally. If you guys have that, it can be used as the access for the entire new internet. That's one thing that you guys can do at scale, bigger and faster than anybody else on earth. LinkedIn are going there. I spoke to them last week before, and they're headed that way. People are looking at this. For you guys, you just create digital ID, non-threatening to advertisers, non-threatening to anybody. You basically own every bloody wallet in the world. I think if you solve identity, you've solved the biggest single problem in all of the internet. Because don't forget and again, you guys are at the forefront of this, what OpenAI is doing and what all of these other AI platforms are doing is creating a world of pain where we don't know what is real and what is fake. If you become the authenticator, you can recapture trust. Because look, Web 2 has lost trust. We all know that, so it's no secret. You can regain trust because in 3 years' time, you will have no idea the video content or the written content, whether that is real or fake. When GPT-3 is writing stories and AI learns how it reacts, nobody has control of their platforms any longer. This is a terrifying situation. And Web3 solves this, but it has to be solved at scale by people like you. The only people who can kind of save the internet from itself, because nobody foresaw this. Nobody really realized how far this would go. But the acceleration of AI is literally terrifying. It's more scary than sovereign states acting within this space. But again, we solve that too. We solve who is posting, who is what, because we can authenticate without even knowing who they are personally. So I could be an avatar, but because I've got zero knowledge proof, that's proof of what I've got. Now, don't forget, once you do that, and if Google authenticates it, anonymized, I can then go into a bank and just flip them my Google token, and I can open a bank account in a second. So India did that at scale with something called India Stack. They had this system called Aadhaar, which was a biometric authentication. And with the biometric authentication, you could put your KYC documentation. So now when you wanted to buy a mobile phone and get a phone line, as opposed to going through all the Indian bureaucracy of filling out endless paperwork, you put your fingerprint, you gave them access to your documents, they approved KYC in seconds. Same for opening a bank account. That got rid of even the need for a mobile phone to spend money, because you can go in and buy a pint of milk with a fingerprint because it links to your bank account. You guys can do all of this.